Welcome back to another episode here on the Heart and Hustle podcast. Today's guest, she became a franchise owner at 26 with zero healthcare experience. But it all started with a job interview that she truly almost skipped. Leighton Boyce is the definition of heart forward hustle, from working customer service to building one of the most human centered caregiving businesses in the game. She's changing what leadership actually feels like. And today, she's pulling back the curtain just a little bit, right? Just a little bit. Because we probably do this in part 2 and 3. But Leighton, how you doing today, madam? Thank you so much for taking your time
I'm
to do
doing
this.
great. Happy to be on here. I love your flow. I love your show. I love your energy. So I'm excited to be on here and get to share a little
As I
bit.
told you offline, there's not a lot of leaders that are so set up for this podcast setup. I mean, you got a mic, a good mic, got the headset, the vibe in the background. So I know this would be a great episode. Let's get to the first question. Walk me back to that moment where you were sitting in that job interview, no healthcare background, no blueprint. What made you lean in instead of just walk out?
I've always been that way. So, my dad always said, I don't care what you do as long as you're happy. You can be bagging groceries the rest of your life. If you're happy, that makes me happy. And, whenever I walked into that job interview, I was young. I was 23, 24, and I just winged it. And and so yeah, it was exciting because like I didn't even know that home care existed for seniors. I'm from Arkansas where it's a lot of families taking care of families. So
Uh-huh.
when we get like 5-10 minutes into the interview, she's asking me questions. We're vibing, and then I drop the question. So what do you really do here?
I
Which
can't.
that would have turned me off, but we had such like a good connection, and gosh, the previous owner was just amazing and knew that you can't train a personality into someone. So I'll tell a kind of an embarrassing story. Um,
Let's hear it.
okay, so I was sitting down talking to her for quite some time, and it a long time, and I hadn't worn heels for an even longer amount of time. So after we got up and I was going to go talk to the HR manager, just kind of do a second interview, I dropped. I fell to the floor because my feet had my leg fell asleep during the interview, and I was mortified. But I'm me, and I just start laughing. Everyone starts laughing. I think it was at that moment that we realized it was going to be a match, because in this industry, you gotta laugh at things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's good. I mean, for you, it was probably, I mean, very embarrassing. But just to know probably after the fact, like, okay, she took this a little easy. I got the job. And like you said, the energy match from the beginning.
It
So,
did.
sometimes it takes that. Sometimes it takes that to break the ice, unfortunately, at your expense. But look where the hell you're at today,
I
right?
know. I know. What? Who let me do this?
And you went from scheduler to owner by 26. I mean,
Yes.
kudos to you at it,
Yeah.
right? And I know it hasn't been easy. What part of that grind really tested you the most, you would say? And what part made you think, I was built for this?
Man, I got in that scheduler seat and I realized, okay, this isn't just scheduling. I'm matching client skills needs with caregiver skills that they have, and their personalities need to match and their schedules need to match because we're flexible. And um, I got it so good. And then, I'm looking around and I'm just carefully studying what everyone else is doing. And then I started to kind of get into their role and help them however I could, and eventually learn the job. And then, what was amazing is the previous owner would let me ask questions about what she was doing. She was happy to answer them. She was like, someone's interested in what I'm doing. And I can understand that now.
Yeah.
But it was definitely a whirlwind. I
I,
never would have expected that I would go
wh-
into this.
where do you get this drive? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I know right now when you hire some of these young folks, they don't have that type of drive. No disrespect to them,
Hmm.
but the so young and wanting to learn in everybody's business, not because you were nosy, but because you wanted to get better, because you're trying to figure out how can I do my job and help others do theirs, and it just makes everything life easier for everybody. Where does that come from?
Man, you know, sometimes it's built into people, but I grew up really poor and I had just bought, and I've had it since I was 13, 14. I love to work and
Hmm.
I love to be valued, and sometimes it's like this thing of you've got to earn your value, you feel that inside. And I really had imposter syndrome, so I was doing everything that I could to not be an imposter. So like I'm like, okay, no, I'm going to actually learn this job front to back cuz no one's going to catch me slipping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I got the opportunity. I'll make sure that I
Ex-
capitalize
and
all day.
I
No,
I saw the opportunity from the beginning.
I
I
love it.
was like, this is gonna be mine one day,
Yeah,
and I'm gonna
no,
I'm
and it
gonna
is.
build it up while I'm down here.
And that, that's the beautiful thing about things. I always tell, especially when I speak to the youth, is any job that you go to, what's in it for you? What are you truly learning? Look at it as they're paying you to get educated, and kind of to
Hmm.
what you said. I was 19 years old when I went to go run a Subway for the first time as a general manager,
Wow.
right? But I was just working, and then but somebody seen something in me, and he came and he says, "Man, like." I see that you're here day and night. You have this worth ethic. Would you want to get into management? I'm thinking like, sure. For me, it was about the money though, not so much just managing a store, but what I can run this store, make my own schedule, and
Yes.
I'm making money. And I learned so much about leadership skills. I learned how to deal with people. I learned how to train people. I learned scheduling, right? I learned how to order food. I mean, that led me to open up a cafe years down the road. For you, it led you to open up your own business before the age of 25. Like, I don't see too many people that do that.
I
It's
it's interesting. I think I've always been so interested in understanding people and knowing
Mhm.
people and things about people. I can forget everything else, but I'm going to remember where this person went on vacation in 2004 with their uncle who passed away in 2007, and they had all this like I'm going to learn everything about a person.
Mhm.
And even in customer service, it was very much like I always just wanted to win over people, even the
Yeah.
crusty ones. And,
Mhm.
my goal was to treat people, even just in one encounter, treat that person better than anyone else is going to treat them in a day. Because if you think about it, that's probably why they're a little bit crusty. They're
Yeah.
not appreciated, they're not treated well. So give it to them.
Yeah. Yeah. It shifts the mindset, right? It allows someone to feel seen or maybe heard.
Right.
Maybe it hasn't happened in a while. You don't know what's going on at home.
Right.
But I remember you once told me that you had to lie about your age to be taken seriously.
So I didn't
Call
think.
you out on this?
Yes, I didn't even think of it as an issue. And then they started scanning in my documents, and they said they saw my birthday was 1992, and they were like, "We just hired someone so young," And I was
That
like,
is too
"But
funny.
does it matter?"
What,
But
what what did that teach you though about
um,
perception versus power and leadership?
I don't know what it taught me other than it doesn't matter if you have the right person,
Mm.
because I really did have that drive, and I think that during that age it can be a really pivotal moment for you to try to find yourself, and in finding yourself a lot of times people are looking at their jobs to help identify who they are. And I definitely was in that position at that time because you know it it's just such a fulfilling thing. But I did, especially whenever I was going into people's homes with their family members who are older than my parents, and, grandparents who are older than my grandparents. And,
Mm.
uh, they would be like, wow, you're really young. And I would just say, I'm older than I look,
I,
which
I
was true because I looked 15.
You know what's crazy is that I'm 35 years old now and I still get treated like I'm 25. But however, because I'm 35 and you tell me I look 25, I'm
Like,
like,
Okay.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I'll
Mhm.
take it. I'll take it all day. I mean, I work, I think I told you last time that I go to the high school often, as I'm one of the board members, and I always get mistaken for one of the students. And then I just laugh, and I'm
I
like,
would,
no, I'm
yeah.
actually the president. I'm actually the president of the foundation. But thank you. It makes me feel
You have
so
glowing
honored that you think
skin.
that.
You really do.
Y- Another thing that that I really loved, you being this young leader, you've also created something called the Procrastination Station,
Yes,
and
I do. I
really
love
to support
that.
that mental health piece, right?
Yeah.
Which is not in any business manual per se, but what made you practice or prioritize emotional safety, for you and your team?
I've always been weird. I've always been like a
Weird
little
is
too
good.
much for people. You know, like I can be a lot. I can tone it down, but I can also be a lot. So I like to get some of that out. For me, if I don't have a handful of belly laughs during the day at work, it's not a good day for me. So,
Hmm.
and I realized that taking a break and we would take a break and have just discussions, and we would go back to work and it was good, to have that little break. But then whenever I started with it because I was interviewing people for office positions and, even caregiving positions. And I wanted to see how they play a game they don't know how to play, So you learn a lot about a person if they've never played Yahtzee and you pull out some dice. So it went from that to, okay, I hear Leighton pulling out the table, and next
Hmm.
she's gonna pull out the cardboard, the flattened cardboard, so that it'll muffle the sound of the dice. So
That is
really,
funny.
it was about stopping work for a second and having a minute to have fun, because you're like, oh well, I need to look at this document with fresh eyes, or I need another pair of eyes on it. It's not just coming at your tasks afterwards with a new set of eyes, but after having like a good time, you're going to come at it more positively. You're going to have better conversations with people, and we have so many conversations. It's important to
Hmm.
do, and I for a while, I'm like, this business is life or death. But then I realized this business is life and death. And
Yep.
so we need to be able to even reminisce on the good times that we have in the office and make it a place of positive energy.
If the Heart and Hustle podcast has ever sparked any idea or made you think differently, do us a favor. Make sure to guys share this, post it on LinkedIn, or even text that nonprofit friend that you just have. Whatever works, this is what keeps the conversation going and allows us to just grow this community together. Seriously, we appreciate you. I love that. How big have you been able to grow these organizations in the last couple of years? Like, how much staff is on there
It
now?
is
Like,
a
what?
roller coaster. It's a roller coaster. Right now, we have around 40 caregivers,
Wow.
and it's myself and two other people in the office, and we like to keep communication tight, which is why it's like that. I've had five
Hmm.
or six people in the office. It was fine. Communication slipped through the cracks. Caregivers didn't feel as they were talking to someone who they could really vent to. And
Yeah,
so, yeah, I mean, as far as the office, I do like to keep it tight. That's my preference. But
I love it.
caregiver
I love
wise,
it.
we go between 40 and 60.
That's
So,
good. No, that's amazing.
yeah.
I mean, that's well, probably sure it's enough, right? Anything else becomes a little bit, oh my God, I got
Yeah,
to hire some more people.
I've always said that I'm only going to hire nice people. And if that means that we're a boutique company, that means we're a boutique company, because I'm not going to
Okay.
walk in the door and be dealing with people I don't want to deal with because they're mean, you know?
You're right.
So,
You're right. You're right. I love this. You've also, I remember you mentioning to me that you were having some personal issues, so you were still showing up, but you were still balancing being present without losing yourself.
yeah.
How?
So, it's just kind of a pivotal moment when, gosh, I go, go, go. I work overnight on the computer, and then the next night I might be on call and be called to someone's house. And I really did neglect myself for what I thought was helpful for the business. It was not.
Mm.
Um, I need. I kept putting off appointments, and I stopped going to my doctor, and I was just being the business. And
Mhm.
so I found out that I got a cancer diagnosis this year, and that really was just not surprising to me for some reason. I don't know if it's because I deal with it a lot or because I don't know. It was just one of those moments where I was like, okay, another thing on my to do list. Let's write it down. We're going to schedule it out. I'm going to time block. I'm going to time batch, and it's all going to be fine, you know? And I just made it a part of work. And then I was like, wait a minute. I feel
Mhm.
terrible right now. I don't feel good. I'm not bringing my best self in. And people can tell, you know, and so that was really like a moment of, okay, I've trained these people. I trust these people. Take a day off,
Mm.
you know,
Mm.
and remove yourself from the on-call schedule. Let them have the reins
Yeah.
while I deal with myself. And man, I just have to say to anyone out there who's an entrepreneur, go to your doctor,
Yep.
do all of the blood tests, do all of the testing. Don't put it off because
Yeah.
it's a ride.
I mean, the difference between it we just mentioned, life and truly death,
Mm-hmm.
right? And kudos to you. I mean, there was something to learn there, right? You had to really step back and see everything that you built. Does it continue to survive without me? And it
Yeah.
did, right? And it,
It
it goes to show the legacy that you're really building at a very young age. But kind of to what you just said, this is nowhere near on your level. But the other day, I'm the type of person that when I get sick, I work through it.
oh
I
yeah.
mean, I could be with no voice and still sit here and want to do a podcast, right? That's
Absolutely.
just who we are. That's just the drive, this worth ethic that we have. So I'll tell you what, I'm 35 years old now. The life, the body, the mind, everything is a little different than what it used to be, okay? It doesn't recover as fast,
It's
all these
true.
different things. So my kids all got sick, my wife got sick, and then it was my turn to get sick. And I told you I stream during the evening time. I'm doing probably 6 podcasts a week. I'm talking to some clients. So I
Doing a
could do a
lot.
lot of talking, showing up.
Yeah.
And people think that, oh, it's easy. No, this showing up, okay, that's not easy. Okay. Sometimes I
Wild.
want to sleep.
It's
I want
wild
to
that
be in
you just
bed.
brought that up because you know that is like in my head that has always been that's the vision of a leader. That's leading with purpose. Is
Yeah.
showing up every day, regardless. And you know, like I've had kidney stone, like last year I had a kidney stone removal surgery thing. I'm under anesthetics. Next thing, I just get to the office, you know,
Yeah. Ready to work.
get to work, and
Right.
you're like, why are you here right now?
I'll tell you what, I had to go back to a story that I was just finishing, but I'm gonna tell you because you said that. I remember one time getting in a car accident, right? And it was Friendsgiving's day. So Friendsgiving was happening at my house. So I get in an accident on my way to my house. Friendsgiving is starting in about an hour and a half, right? And I'm bleeding. I got this gash back here. I'm bleeding. I mean, the car is totaled, all these different things. Of course, I'm just in la la land. Okay, I just got in this car accident. Luckily, I walked away with that. I burned on my arm. So my wife is like, "You don't want to get stitches?" And in my mind, I'm like, "No, we got Friendsgiving. Like, we could figure that out later. Could we just put a band-aid?" Mind you, the band-aid was going to cover it. To this day, I never went to the hospital. When I got this just scar in the back of my head, I just let. But that's the things that we do, and it's bad. So that's the reason I say this is the other day, I was not feeling well, and I had a stream that night. It was Monday. And I was like, if I go live on Monday, and it's wrestling. So wrestling is just, it's energy,
Yeah.
right? If I strain myself, I'm not lasting till Friday. Back in the days, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, you know what? I'm not going to go live. And I took it easy. I made sure that I had to take care of the body, that I heard the body talking to me. Because sometimes the body does talk to you, and we just still keep going and keep going and keep going. I can only imagine that the body was talking to you, but you was like, "Oh, I'll do it later. I'll do it later." And sometimes it takes us to kind of hit that wall to be realized, like, "Oh." To what you mentioned, my neighbor passed away because of cancer, and when he told me that, and I was seeing him, and like just kind of
Deteriorating.
not
Yeah.
doing well, yeah, and he actually ends up passing away. But when he was telling me these things, I'm not a young individual either. And you know what? Cancer hits at any age. I mean, anything hits at any age. Life hits at any age. So when he told me that, that was the first thing I said. And I got kids. I need to go check myself. I
Yeah.
need to make sure that everything is good because we act like things are good, but we don't really know what it looks like on the inside. The
You're
things that
right.
we're putting in our bodies, that sun. There's so many different things that can cause issues at the end of the day. Some that like you mentioned, you didn't know. You just felt like it was just the normal thing. My back is hurt. Some people
Yeah.
just think, oh, it's my back. It's cool. I'll
Mm-hmm.
be all right. So I love that you mentioned that you just um, it's okay to slow down. It's okay to let other people's lead while you take care of yourself sometimes, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Because I spoke to some leaders, man, and that they didn't see things in their life till they were 40 years old, where they were able to see, like, man, I almost lost my business because I didn't take time to think what was going on around me, the way I was treating people. Because it's a go, 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 go every single day mentality. So I commend you for just staying so strong through those times, and here you are, still
What are you
doing it, still
gonna
pushing.
do? You know,
I love
you,
it.
you
I
just
truly
you
love it.
can't let it stop you, but you do have to be
Hmm.
just as proactive in life with your own body and your own life outside of work, because life outside of work does exist, I guess.
Hmm.
Who knew? And you do have to be proactive. Like you said at the beginning of the week, you said, I'm not going to last until Friday. So
Yeah,
you had self-preservation, and you have to manage your body as well as you manage your business, and
correct.
it's dire.
Yeah, no, 100%. I appreciate you sharing that. And
Yeah.
I also want to talk about you. You had this one dream of being a lawyer and then something more aligned with joy. How did you break out of doing what was expected and step into what made you feel alive? I mean, or did you realize at one point, who was I kidding? I don't
Yeah,
want to be a lawyer.
it was kind of like that. Like, I'm gonna change the world. I am Superwoman, and I am going to learn these policies and change the world. And then, I get around these other people that are in these poli sci classes. I'm like, these guys are assholes. I don't like these people. And I found that I'm changing the world one person at a time in
Yeah.
a population of people who are shadowed. They
Hmm.
are shadowed from the public, and like it's this is so much more fulfilling, and customer service was more fulfilling than what a lot of lawyers or anyone in government can do sometimes. um I won't get into any conspiracy theories, but I have some.
Well, listen, I want to talk about something that you're a little curious about, but also skeptical around
Oh.
AI, right? You have this healthy dose of just being skeptical around AI. What's one way you would actually love, you talking about changing and really making a difference, love to see AI show up in caregiving that feels human and not so much robotic?
Hmm. That's hard. This is such a divisive and interesting topic, that I'm almost scared to talk about it because they're listening. Um, but no,
My neighbor tells me that. I said, "Hey, why don't you just, how you say, okay, Google, and you talk to your phone and set up
oh
alarm." So I always do that all the time. So mind you, my neighbor was also in the military, so it's probably even further than how we believe.
yeah. Hmm.
So I said, "Hey, man, just tell your phone. You can just talk to it. You just tell it to take notes." And he's like, "No, no, no, I can't do that. They're listening." I'm like, "They're listening even when you don't
Yeah.
talk to it. Like they're listening at
How
all
do
the
you?
time, man."
Yeah. How do you think they know they're saying that we're saying,
Yes,
"Hey Siri"?
exactly.
Don't do that. you know. But yeah, I've thought a lot about that question because it's something that comes up a lot in home care. There's no replacement for human interaction, but I think there is a place for taking a load off of our back that doesn't necessarily need to be there. There are a lot of policies that we have to write and continue to write, and procedures
Hmm.
that we have to update and things like that. And, you know, English isn't everyone's first language. So it's extremely helpful to provide consistency in my documentation. And I know that there are so many different ways that AI is going to affect this industry. I'm not
Hmm.
sure how, but
Hmm.
I can only imagine that, we're going to have better information about what's really going on with our clients before it actually occurs, which
Hmm.
can early intervention is, not something that I would ever be against at all. So, yeah, hopefully it all turns out okay.
Listen, it's funny as I'm such a big AI user. So the way that I use AI, and I think you kind of use AI a little bit, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But there's so many different ways right now where AI is really changing ways for so many industries in the healthcare, the nonprofit space, both of the spaces that we love to talk to leaders in, and you just hear, I mean, people thinking about how do we communicate and keep that engagement, right? That out of sight, out of mind, but
Right.
also talk to the families while their loved ones are being taken care of, because that's also important. How do we communicate with those family members,
It's
so
almost
creating AI automation around something like that.
yeah. Oh, I don't know because I like to have that for myself. Like
Mhm.
that's the that's the good
That's where you win.
stuff.
That's
That's
where
the
you
good
win.
stuff. Yeah, that's where I
Yeah,
get
yeah,
to
yeah,
win them. And
yeah.
so it's with AI, I think that it's good for a business like mine, it's good for helping us stay compliant with state
Hmm.
rules and regulations.
Got
So
it.
I could roll out, something that's AI for, if someone's auto insurance runs out, I don't have to think about that. It's gonna prompt them to do
Hmm.
it, and then we're gonna have it. I don't have to worry about that instead of chasing someone around for their auto insurance, new driver's license, first aid, whatever. So it definitely kind of also takes like the onus of asking people to do things over and over. I'm like, oh, AI
Yes.
did it. Wasn't me.
Facts. It wasn't me. Yeah, yeah. I don't feel too bad.
But
Yeah, for
I will
sure.
say, I was doing another podcast and they were asking very convoluted questions. And so I like put it in my Google Doc, put on Gemini, and then it I was like, help me answer these questions. And I after that, I printed it out and I mistook it for the original one that he gave me. And I'm over here like, how in the heck do I answer all of these questions? I over prepared so well for this interview because of AI. Although
Hey,
it
that's
was a
not bad at all.
mistake,
That is
but
funny.
it really did help me prepare. So I mean there
It
there
is
are
really
different
good.
avenues that I use it, and I just know that it's only going to get better in a lot of ways.
I mean, I'm ordering Wendy's now, talking to the AI.
What
Have
you
you been to
what
Wendy's
you
and
getting?
ordered?
Get me one too.
Listen, I'm getting the biggie bag all day, okay? I'm a chicken sandwich type of guy. But no, it is. I remember the first time pulling up to Wendy's and thinking to myself, like, wow, there's an AI really taking my order, and it's accurate. It's accurate, and
It
you make the changes, and it
mhm.
makes the changes. And someone says, well, one day it's gonna be face recognition. I'm like, well, that's scary. Like you just pull up to the drive-through and it just automatically spits out your order. Come on now.
If I pull up with my husband and there's facial recognition and it shows that I've had 3 burgers the day before that I've snuck, it's not going to be
That is too
good. It's
funny.
not going
It's
to be
not.
good
It
for
is
AI.
definitely not. I for the young leader who's listening, who feels like they're maybe too early or not ready, what's something that you would actually tell them about leading with heart while still protecting your peace as well?
I would say if you've got to love what you're doing. If you don't love what you're doing, quit. Quit
Hmm.
your job
Yeah.
and do something that you really love, because at the end of the day, if you're not liking what you're doing, you are not going to show up well. You are not going to communicate well, and you're going to end up wasting years of your life.
Yeah.
Um, but with being young, just know that you have a lot ahead of you. And so
Hmm.
preparing for your later years and learning what you want out of life. How do you want to retire? Like think about those things, set goals now. so that you can and look at your goals every single day. I know that's the rule for that's a known rule, but really write out your goal, end goal for that every day. Recite it and live it.
I like what you're saying. I actually spoke to someone yesterday, and I always ask this question. When someone looks unhappy or they're in that what do I do type phase, always ask, are you happy or are you comfortable? Right? And I asked that to a gentleman actually the other day, and he just starts laughing, and he's like, I'm comfortable. I said, hey, man, I mean, is that really good to be comfortable, or do you want to be happy in what you do? You have the opportunity. It was like I was at the school, and the principal says, hey, man, talk to this guy real quick. And he wanted this guy to be the robotics teacher. And the dude right now, he's teaching at a smaller school, K through 8th, and he's comfortable. But now you can go work with a pretty prestige, high school, legacy is like 50, 60 years, A school, and do robotics. Sounds fun to me. You know what I mean? Sounds like I'll be happy.
Yeah.
So I'm telling him, I'm like, man, like I get it. You're very loyal,
Sure.
but at any moment, working for somebody, I don't care how loyal you are, they'll get rid of you and replace you. You know what I mean? So it's like, go find happiness. I understand loyalty. Listen, I can't go to another barber because that's my barber.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a difference though. A job, go find happiness. And sometimes he's even taking a pay cut. But when you go home every day and you're not venting to your wife, about something or your husband or your mom, like that's when you realize it's happy. When you wake up and just excited to get to do it all over again, that's happiness. But when you're like, oh, this again, you're just
Yeah.
comfortable. You're just collecting a paycheck. You know what I mean?
Right. I have definitely experienced people who want to work less. And I'm like, I need someone who wants to work more, like uh, it's, and, like kind of, and almost going back to the question before about young leaders, it's like, you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable all the
Yes.
time. If you're not
Yeah.
uncomfortable, you're not doing your job right. If you're not uncomfortable with something,
Are you really learning? Are you
what are
really
you
living?
learning? Are you growing? You're not.
You mentioned earlier is roller coaster.
Yeah.
And someone told me, he's like, man, and kind of almost in the bad context, like, man, life's really been a kind of a roller coaster for me and this and this. And I'm such a person that likes to just flip everything. I said, that's actually good. Because if you're not on a roller coaster, then are you really even living?
You're
Life
just
is
in
about
line,
ups and
buddy. You're
downs.
just in line with the funnel cake.
Oh, man, I love this. We have had such a good time.
Yes.
And I ask, where can people follow more of you, get to learn more about Synergy as
Yes.
well, and just tap into it? LinkedIn, social medias, where are you on?
Leighton Boyce, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Synergy Home Care of Longmont is my business. And you can find us on our website. Google us. Our phone number, 720-204-5788. And we also have a TikTok. We have an Instagram too. So we post some fun stuff on there. So it's not, I'm not going to put out boring content. So
There you go.
yeah.
Because you're not a boring person. I mean, even the whole experience that we're getting today,
Yeah.
like, I love it. Where's this? See, mine is just things that I love, right? I love plants. I love wrestling. So I like to incorporate a little bit of that. But I'm getting a little vibe here. What is the vibe that we're getting behind you?
We're getting like a Hogwarts botanical thing that I wasn't really going for, but it ended up that way. I have, just like I've got a little
It
bit of
looks
a
good.
setup, but
I love
it
it.
really just comes from just I wanted a room in my house that was exactly what I would want my entire house to be if I could make all of the rules. So it's really just like kind of dark academia, a place where I feel creative, a place where I can
Yes.
sing, a place where I can be all of the things at once.
Yeah.
I can jump from an email to a podcast.
Yeah.
It's just a great little
I love
station.
it
I
too.
love being in
I
here,
love
and
it.
it's important to love where you're at.
Same. I even when I put the kids down, I'm right back here.
Yeah.
Like, this is my space.
Right.
I love it. Like you mentioned, I can swing this away
Mhm.
and pick it back up. You
Right.
know what I mean? And I got three screens, and I'm here just clicking
Mhm.
and clacking on this, really building. This is a space where I feel comfortable, and I'm still, like I mentioned earlier, every time someone sees it, they was like, man, like I want that. I'm like, it takes time.
It does.
Like I. I didn't know I wanted a floating shelf, but I seen one on Facebook. I'm like, oh, I could put my plants on
Yeah.
that. Look, now there's not even plants. There's wrestling figures on it. So you just
I
never
love
know,
that.
never know. It's time for that blind question. Now, you in the seat. A nice little seat there. We'll put you in the hot seat.
All right.
Let's talk about it. If I handed you a mic and the whole world had to listen for 30 seconds, what would you say, and who would you hope hears it the loudest?
That's a good one. I would say don't worry about what anyone else is doing. Stay in your lane. Worry about you. And that's
I
all.
love yourself. I love yourself. Who you want to hear this the loudest?
I want you know, I want all of the young leaders to hear that.
Yeah.
I want everyone to hear it. It's because that is just like it's
It's what we need to be
palpable
doing
in the
today.
environments these days.
No, for sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
just, do what you
I,
love
I,
and stay in your lane.
That is very good, especially in the social media days, right? Everyone sees something and just thinks like, "Oh, that's what I want," and they try to replicate it, but it's like
Yeah.
that's you lose the auth. It's not authentic,
Yeah,
right?
it's not
That was so
genuine.
big when I talk to leaders, and a lot of the compliments I always get back is, "Thank you for allowing me to just feel comfortable," and it
Yes.
was so authentic,
Mhm.
right? Because that is so huge for our young leaders. You don't have to show up as somebody else. Show up as your true self. Of course, it has to be a sense of professionalism and got to carry yourself well. But I'll tell you, I'll give you this example. I was very, and I don't know if I should have taken it the wrong way. I think others may have taken it the wrong way, but for me, it's like whatever. Like I'm in that space. It's like whatever anybody thinks of me, right? Like it is what it is.
Yeah.
So I walk into the school, and it's a high school, and we were awarding probably like 12 to 15 scholarships. So I'm in there, my long sleeve Edgewater shirt, right? I'm an alumni. I'm dressed damn near almost like one of the
Well,
students.
yeah.
So the principal comes around, right? The principal comes around, and obviously he's in the blazer. He's a whole suit, okay?
Mhm.
But mind you, it's also his first year that he's doing this award show. But to me, it's like I'm at a kid's scholarship award show, right? It doesn't get fancy. I could get really fancy, but I had to understand my environment per se.
Right.
So he looks at me. He's like, "That's what you're wearing?" And I looked at him like, "Yeah, why? You got a problem?" He's like, "Oh, I mean, I got a button up Edgewater shirt if you want to." I'm like, "Nah, bro. I feel comfortable. Like,
Mhm.
I feel like I could relate to the kids more, in this way. Because I realize that I don't have to sit in a suit and tie. It doesn't make me any different than just sitting like this.
I can't
Even,
I can't tell you
good,
how many
good.
blazers I bought. Don't need them.
Don't need them. Yeah. I used to have a client that says, yeah, you want to show up, maybe in a button up at least to speak to the CEOs and to these leaders. And I'm like, so I was doing that at first. And as I started to get with more leaders, and I'm like, they're just in here almost in their pajamas talking to me. Like,
Yes.
and I love that because it
Mhm.
shows the trueness, rawness behind our leaders. Like, we're no different than the next person.
I
We just
know.
stay in our lane.
Yep. It's true.
Yep, yep.
I tell my office staff, business casual guys, but don't expect me to be
Yeah.
business casual. I'll be wearing my Tupac shirt and my ripped jeans, and it is what it is.
I love it. That's it. That's what makes you you. That's what people love you,
Yeah.
right? Is because they like, man, I just love how she's just so free. She's herself.
So opposite from
Um,
when I started, but yeah.
we got to learn somehow.
Yep.
We got to learn somehow. I ask you, what is your blind question to the next lead that we have here on the Heart and Hustle?
I want to ask, what does retirement look like for you, and what is your exit strategy?
Oh Lord, that's a good question, Leighton. That is a good question. I haven't had anyone ask that question in over a couple of 50, 60 episodes, so this is a really good question.
Awesome.
It has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to have this conversation with us.
Let's do it
Um,
again.
I agree. I
Okay.
definitely agree. This was definitely a vibe. It was easy
Yeah.
peasy, and again, it just seemed like we were just having coffee, tea.
Yeah. You
So
make it
thank you so
easy.
much,
Thank
guys. If
you.
you're still here, make sure you guys do like, subscribe, comment. These are amazing leaders in the healthcare space, and we also talk to those in the nonprofit space. Look at leaders that are doing maybe what you want to do or doing what you are doing, and collaborate. Reach out, figure out how we can all help each other to make sure that this place, this world, becomes a better place.
Yeah.
Guys, this has been the Heart and Hustle podcast. My name's Ephraim. This has been Leighton. We'll catch you guys in the next episode. Laters.
Bye.